very good evening to everyone. It is a privilege to welcome Mr. Ashwani Pandhi as a distinguished speaker for Saturday Talk. Mr. Pandhi is a chemical engineer from IIT Delhi and an MBA from XLRI Jamshedpur with a specialization in marketing and finance. He brings with him over 37 years of rich and diverse experience with the Indian Oil Corporation, spanning technical, operations, sales, strategic planning, and sustainable development roles. Given his deep understanding of India's oil and gas sector and the evolving energy landscape, we look forward to hearing from his experiences as well as his deep insights on the emerging energy mix. The current oil and gas infrastructure is something that is constantly in the news, and we feel that today's session is going to really enrich our audience. We are delighted to have you with us today, sir. Over to you.
See, first of all, I think is we have an advantage in India. We have the largest population. It is now 1.47 billion and still growing. Whereas in case of other countries, and especially in China, it is decreasing. We are adding around 12 to 15, 13 million people every day. We are the third largest consumer in the world right now after USA and China. And energy use has doubled since 2000. Per capita energy of India is still less than 50% of world average. So if all you see the population is growing, our average is low, there is a lot of potential for energy. I'm just right now talking about energy, not about oil. So the energy consumption will grow. And with more data centers coming up, definitely this will go further at an even faster. We have a population which is half of which is less than 30 years. So I think all young people like me who are less than 30, they have a lot of potential ahead of them. So India, it will grow. It is still the fastest growing economy among the major countries. So there's a lot of potential for young people. I think this is just a chart to show that between 8 to 18, our China energy had grown by 3.8%. We had grown by 5%. Their energy share was for 24.3%, and our share was 5.8% of the total world energy share, whereas USA had the largest. So just to present to you, this is just to tell you how the scenario is changing. And if you see in this slide, this is the scenario in the last 2 decades. The population of India has grown. It has grown by nearly 40. GDP has nearly, if you see from 2.8 trillion, it has gone to 2.15 trillion. So it is nearly double. Energy demand, which is in the last slide, if you see, this has also nearly more than doubled. And coal consumption has increased, nearly doubled. Oil has doubled, and traditional biomass has reduced. This is the past. I'm talking about the last 2 decades. So gas consumption has doubled, electricity demand has gone 3. Now this is the major breakup of the last 2 decades. If you see, the coal consumption has been going up mainly because of the consumption in thermal power. And most of the 75% of the demand in 2019 was coming from, mainly in the power consumption was coming from. And if you see the oil part, this gray part, you see around in 75% of the oil was imported. But now it has touched 90. Of all the oil which we are consuming here, 90% is being imported from other. Then another thing which you can see is the gas consumption has also doubled, and we are only producing around 50% of the gas. Now this is another good slide which just tells you what exactly was the scenario in 2019 and what is likely to happen in 2040. This is based on Indian Vision Case, which is put up by IEA, which is International Energy Agency. You see in the first slide, the gas share was only 6%, and our GDP was 2.9 trillion, and with total primary energy demand of 929 million tons of oil. Whereas in 2040, our GDP will grow to nearly 9.8 trillion, approximately 10 million trillion you can see. Energy demand will be 1522, which is an increase of nearly 60%. And gas share will increase from 6% to nearly 14%. And if you see, there's in the first slide, oil is this red one, which is nearly, you can see, is increasing, is nearly, not exactly doubling, but nearly going up by another. The major increase will be in renewables, which is nearly doubling. And it will be in natural gas. Natural gas is this gray one, which is more than doubling here. So I think this is the new trend which is likely to happen in India. This is about the scenario in India. Now, let's talk about the oil demand. This graph is that of global oil. Now, if you see the oil trend is going up, become net zero by 40 or 50. We have committed to become net zero by 2070. If you see, then the drop in oil consumption is going to be drastic. Now, on the left-hand side, if you can see, this is what the projection is for India. Oil demand in 2000 was 2.3 million barrels per day. By 19, it was 5 million barrels. Currently, it is 5.5 million barrels per day. And this is likely to go up to approximately 8.7 million barrels per day by 2040 in the normal business as usual. We are taking business as usual because this is the most likely scenario which is likely to happen. Net zero by 2040, which IEA was projecting, is not likely to happen because even our Prime Minister said we are taking target as 2070. This is as per the COP. Even if we take the rapid, we take drastic steps in renewable, then also our demand will come to 8.3 million barrels per day. This is the first is as per the IEA. The second projection is by the British Petroleum, which says that our demand will go to approximately 9.7 million barrels per day by 2040. Don't compare the two because this is by 2040 and this is by 20. This is one of the projections. And if you see the comparison between 15 and 23, China had added around 5 million barrels per day demand of global oil, whereas India had added only 1. And some of the countries like Europe and Japan and Korea, they had. Now, if you see the scenario in next, China is only adding very small because they have gone more towards renewable. And if you see during this crisis also, China didn't have much of a problem because one, they had power generation from renewable and a lot of EV vehicles being produced there and used there. And moreover, they had a strategic reserve of around 8 months or so. And in the next approximately 8 months, you can see India will add approximately 2 million barrels per day to its oil consumption, which is not that good. But if you see in Europe, it is reducing. In North America, like US and Canada, it is reducing because they will be focusing more on renewable and other things. It will be increasing in Southeast Asia but India is the only country, major area where oil will be growing. But if you see the total demand in the world, it will be because of reduction in Europe. And now this is, I will just rush through because I think you have given me time till. And the gas demand is likely to go up from 63 to 201. So that means nearly it is 3 times it is happening and this is gas demand as per IEA. As per BP, British Petroleum, it is likely to grow from 58 to approximately 241, nearly 4 times. And this is the gas demand of the world. See on the right hand side. If you see, the gas demand is again tapering because they will be moving from gas to more of renewables, the whole other major part of Europe. And this is the outlook for the renewable energies. In the world, the renewable energies will be growing. Oil, hydrocarbons will be reducing down. But if you take case of India, renewable energy will be likely to go from 1.2 to 19 from 2018 to 2050. And the units here are exajoules, that's 10,000, 10 raised to 8. So there is likely to be very big jump in renewables. And we have committed approximately, we said we'll be adding 280 gigawatt of solar power by 2030 and 500 gigawatt from non-fossil fuels by 2030. Whereas if you see the current installed capacity of solar capacity generation is 150, we still have a lot of things to do here. And this is the brief on the major infrastructure we have. Why I'm giving this is because when you are planning, targeting major oil terminals or refineries, you will have your idea what is the potential. So many locations are here, so many tanks are here where you can target them for. And you are making your. We had 23 refineries, and this is the capacity. And then crude oil length is around 10,000 kilometers. LPG pipeline, I'm not getting into the pipeline because you are not into this major. And oil terminals, they are around 330. LPG bottling plants around 240. There are aviation fuel stations which are in the airport. Then we have around 1 lakh, more than 1 lakh retail outlets. Around 8,000 CNGs, and around LPG, I think you can. Basically, I just wanted to give you this so that you have an idea of the potential which is available for your company when you are trying to target maybe sludge removal or any other kind of. Now, I'll come to some few experiences I have. One is on plant operations and especially on the safety. There was one LPG bulk tank accident. Normally, when we are transferring liquid LPG from bulk tanks to major tanks, which are hot and spares in plants. Actually, what happens is the LPG is transported through tankers. which has a pressure of around 10 kg, 8 to 10, depending on the temperature. So how it is decanted is the pressure is created through LPG gas only, through pumps, and then vacuum is created in a bigger tank which is in the plant. And when you pressurize, because of the pressure difference, liquid LPG. Now, what happened in this case was there is actually a safety pop-up valve at the top, and which normally opens if in case there is a fire outside. Then it opens when the high pressure is built up inside the tank, so that it doesn't the shell doesn't tear off. And if it tears off, it works like a, and there is in fact a concept of levy. I'm not. And see what happened. Unfortunately, the pop-off valve is a spring loaded at times, and it malfunctions. So just when it was being unloaded, maybe at slightly at a higher temperature, pressure, it gave way and it opened. The gas started leaking from the pop-off valve, and the huge gas was. So in that case, you cannot decant. Emergency was declared, and all the plant officials rushed to the place. Now the question was how to now decant it. You can't put pressure because already the pop-off valve was leaking, and it has given way. Further, because of high pressure, probably it could have just blown off. And then the problem was there was gas all around. We had no other option. In this case, if you have a robot which can be remotely operated and we can go and assist, that can be of great help. So what we had done was then we sent a person with a fire entry suit with the oxygen cylinder who first opened the pipeline connection, and we arranged two other vehicles which were empty, and then we created a vacuum in those two empty tankers, and we transferred the LPG without pressurizing. This was only the vacuum suction in the empty tanks. What I just wanted to say was, in case we have any help where a remote robot operated I think the robot can be operated like a human being and who can assist in connecting and disconnecting the pipes, that can be great help, because in that case the person was at great risk. The person who entered the gas cloud was at great risk. So especially the robots can be great help in such kind of accidents. In fact, there was once a similar accident in Mathura refinery also, when FCC cracker unit, fluidized cracker unit, it caught fire. So some of the persons were again sent along with the fire entry suit, and they had to close the wall which was on fire. So maybe such kind of things. I don't think you probably you have or not don't have any kind of robot which can help in such kind of. Then second case I discussed was there was another fatal case. This was in Ujjain bottling plant. LPG tank was under cleaning, and even though water was filled, it was completely degassed. But normally there are some kind of heavy materials which are there, and poisonous gases, which solids are there, which can be a part of the sludge also. That was left. And one person went inside to clean the tank. Unfortunately, because of those dead materials and some toxic gases were there, and he got fainted. To retrieve him, another person went who was a relative, and he also fainted. So now to get them out, again the team was rushed to that place. But unfortunately, by the time they were taken out, both of them expired. So you already have, I think, some sludge cleaning robots, which can help here. But only problem is that most of the locations, they have their own traditional methods, they have their own traditional teams, and which they are following, which are cost effective. You have to shortlist those locations which are more safety conscious, and then target them, and then try to sell your that is. Then I'll share two cases of sales and technical. See, in IOC, in technical services, we provide them pre-sales service and post-sales service. One is known as PLS, that's a preliminary lubrication service report. That is normally done when the plant is about to be commissioned. We interact with the people who are designing the plant, or when the equipments are being procured, and then we give them a survey report where we advise them what is the best lubricant or the latest lubricant which can be used. In fact, some of the equipments which have imported lubricants, we tell them what is our equivalent. That is one report. The second report is that when the plant is commissioned, then we do a complete lubrication survey report. That is, when the plant has started, we then tell them, fine, you have commissioned. There were some tie-ups with the suppliers also. So as per the warranty condition clauses, they have to use the lubricating oil supplied with. So after the warranty period, we tell them what are the best lubricants we have with us and what is the advantage. So that again survey report is given to them. These services are free. Then another one is lubrication survey report, which we give them whenever there is a development of a new oil. Go tell them, and then we tell them what are the we prove to them technically, and then we uh, tell them what are the costs. And once we tell them what is the cost saving they will have, the user tries to save. I think what I'm trying to say is, and then we have one thing which is known as condition. This was also a free service. And in Badarpur Thermal Power Station, we used to carry out the condition monitoring. So we used to take out the lugal samples periodically, once a 6 months, and then we used to do all the analysis, including elemental. It is something like a blood test. So in one of the condition monitoring samples, we found the iron was increasing in them, in the lugal. And we told the customer, fine, you check up your system, iron is increasing, and something is wrong with you. And somehow the customer was not able to pinpoint. He said, no, we don't have such kind of problem. It may be in your oil. And after 1 month or so, they came to us telling, fine, one of the pumps, which was a turbine pump, has stopped working, and their filters have started. Then we checked up, we found the iron concentration had gone up very high. And when we again tried to find out, and along with the customer, we could trace that one of their pumps, turbine oil pumps, their impeller was touching the casing, which was an impeller was of cast iron. So it was slowly, the iron was generating there. So what I just wanted to tell you is that if you are in touch with customer, providing a service, any kind of crisis, you can convert into sales. Otherwise, had we not been doing this kind of service and providing them, then probably they would have blamed our oil. You find your oil, and they would have blamed. So you can always convert any kind of crisis if you are in touch with your customer and you are providing a service to them. Then another case I'll give is that of IFCO Amla. Here again, it was turbine oil, and they suddenly called us, your oil is suddenly creating a lot of foams. And our salesperson went to them, even the fuel salesperson, because we were providing so many other fuels to them. And they called us and they started firing the people. You have supplied substandard quality of oil to us. Again, here also we were doing and we sent our technical services people to analyze the system. So we were not able to literally find out what exactly was the reason. But see, when we visited the site and found out there was some white powder line where this oil was being loaded into this. We took the sample, sent it to our labs, and found out that there was some more concentration of calcium as compared to the last one. So when we found out, and we discussed with the customers, they told us there was a fire accident around a week back, and they had used the fire extinguisher, which normally has calcium bicarbonate, and so that it had gone into the system. Then we told them, normally they have a hose pipe, by which through drums they used to suck it into the lugal storage. And while normally they are supposed to close those, they have to put a line there. Unfortunately, that was not put, and when they started sucking this oil and putting into the main system, the oil, this powder. Again, I think what I just want to tell is, when you are in touch with your customer and you have confidence in your own product, you can convert any kind of crisis in sales, and you can convert that into your advantage and convert it into sales. And in that case, we got appreciation from the customer, and we got a repeat order of turbine oil because that had gone wrong and without any harm to others. So that is just, I just wanted to share some of my experiences so that I think it can be helpful to you. I think that's it. Probably I've covered within half an hour.
We have a lot of areas where we can plan things for the future. So
Yes,
one thing is that talking of robotics, intervention, there could be number of use cases for the power plant inside the oil and gas.
Right.
Whatever the power sources we use, I think for the sump cleaning, also for tank cleaning, these are very sort of rudimentary type of activities which everyone carries. And in NTPC, we have been trying that for a few years for cleaning these sumps and other things. So probably that is one area, and probably we can also look at some activities which are very manual, like tightening a valve or something like that. If we can devise robots for that at high elevations or something like that, probably on the cost part, as you are saying, there could be an issue. How to get into that type of business for JanyuTech. But my more concern is regarding the cyber security of oil and gas systems, which today JanyuTech is not looking per se. Primarily, we are looking at robotics, but cyber security in an oil and gas plant would be a matter of concern now with whatever is happening with the world over. So, is there any possible area that JanyuTech can look for future on the cyber security aspects, on the safety aspects?
One thing is cybersecurity. One is even a drone attack.
Yes, anti-drones.
Yeah,
that is very important, and in fact, I think your Bombay area is so much vulnerable for any type of attack, unless we protect that.
All border areas are.
Rajasthan and all, Barmer and all these are very serious areas.
But India also.
But are they thinking of this type of intervention for protecting a refinery from these type of things? Because it comes in no one's domain. Oil and gas company probably doesn't look at the overall holistics of that area. Right. Again, we have the defense forces which are looking after it. So I don't know whether there's a nodal body in India who looks after this.
Normally, the security of a refinery and a location is with CA. And whenever there is a crisis, then even the defense people also get into action, because the first target of any enemy is to hit a refinery or a store. That is what we had also done during our war with Sagoda. So that is one. And during war, it is army also which gives and comes with. That is what I know.
But routinely, I don't think there's a nodal agency like an area like Bombay, where we have a nuclear plant, we have a refinery, we have the best of industries.
I don't think routinely.
There's no nuclear central agency who looks after that in the country probably today, because it requires the Coast Guard to be involved. It requires a lot of many people. So primarily, a refinery can't take care of a drone attack.
Yes, refining cannot take.
So, but I don't know if there is any thinking going on that, because that is very important for national security.
It is
and
very
important. So I don't know whether we are looking at it at a possible sort of attack. Now that it is very much possible, we have seen in the latest war. So any type of attack will cripple the nation. Second point, sir, I wanted to make is that we are talking a lot of oil storage. But why is it that every company is declaring in public domain that where these storages are being located? Because they are national assets, oil storage, crude oil storage locations. But we find that there are public announcements being made worldwide that we are storing the crude oil at some locations. So I'm not sure why this is not getting some sort of secrecy, because everywhere it is a public announcement.
Yeah, it is question is, one thing is, if we are keeping strategic reserves, most of them in southern India. Another thing is, most of them are again above ground. So for this, I think you need, if you really want to run now, which is all visible from satellite also. Whether you disclose it or not, it is visible. Unless until this storage is underground, I think were being planned in some kind of, abundant mines also. That was being thought of. Then only there you can, I think, keep under, may not disclose. But these things are but obvious. I think nowadays the satellites are so strong, detect even, I think, maybe
underground also they can detect. Underground also they can detect.
Yes, they can.
Not very difficult.
Yes. So question is whether you disclose or not. I think it is all visible to the enemy.
But it looks strange that a country declares that. Why should we be saying? Maybe it's more of marketing by the states.
See, actually, if you see, instead of war, what is more, this oil security is also very important. I mean, if the crude oil prices goes up from $60 to $150, that is also a crisis.
Definitely.
Now, then a lot of strategies are being to ensure that OPEC doesn't increase the prices at charging very high. So that is why if you see within last 10 years, this all pressure on renewable, nuclear, and all alternate fuels started. Because this is again a strategy to reduce the importance of oil. And when you try to convey to these oil companies, the oil countries, that oil, the life of oil is very less, then they don't start charging very exorbitant. Yes, yes. So I think for us, one is during the war, which doesn't happen that too often, but oil security is very important. Take case what happened in case of Iran. They didn't have nuclear, but they were controlling the state of hormones, so it was as good as a nuclear bomb. And they have
Very right.
been able to thwart excellent actions from Middle East countries and US.